Hello guys, and welcome to AWD Zimaleta. Today is part 7 of the Nissan Rogue build. But really, in reality, I started this project 3 days ago, so this would be technically day 4. But when you're actually working on cars and stuff like that, there's hours upon hours of content, and you really don't know where to put it all because, as you notice, the video is like 1 hour long because technically, it takes a lot longer to really do this than it really is. And you really don't know what parts to cut out and what parts to keep. So I cut as much out as possible and give you guys as much, content, as possible. Basically, let me explain to you guys a little bit what's going on. In the last video, I installed basically the radiator and everything is already in here. And that video hasn't been out yet, and it's behind 2 other videos. Technically, there will be 2 more videos out since then this is going to be coming out. Or am I confused? Yeah, I think that's about right. But anyways, so what's going on here? We have installed the radiator, and the radiator on top, it doesn't go into its mounts, and that's because the radiator is now a little bit lower than it needs to be, just slightly lower, maybe like 1/4 inch, but that's enough. There's several ways of actually fixing that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this video. As I'm going to be doing it, I'll explain to you guys. But really, let me address this whole build, guys. I'm really surprised in my own self that I got this, Nissan Rogue this far, this quickly, because I haven't been really getting up early in the morning and really working this project away. If I did, it would have been probably done in like 1.5 or 2 days, just like where it is right now. Because everything's hooked up. We got all the electronics already hooked up, all the wiring, the AC condensers in there, the radiators in there, all the pipes, the fluid is in there. As a matter of fact, I drove it around the property yesterday. Everything's working excellent. It starts up fine. It looks good. It's really acceptable. And really, to be honest with you, this is my first project that I did by myself. I've never done a job like this before, and the reason is I didn't have the tools to do it before, and I didn't have the property to do it because before this I lived in apartments, and there was just like really no possibility of doing it. Not until we had a van accident last year. We had a guy run into the back of me. I had a very little payout from that. I think they paid me, I can't remember, $1,400 or $1,500 for the damages. I had to replace the 2 rear doors. I had to pull out the back. That was actually my first attempt at actually using, some of these, tools and stuff for pulling. But that was a, rear end on a Sprinter that I was basically pushing out. And this I had to end up pulling out. And I've used several different techniques. And they're just like my own techniques because I'm really not learning this from anybody except myself. Then we did a job, right before this, Chrysler 300, we had to pull out, the rear quarter panel. And for that, my buddy Serge helped me out, and, we're like brothers. He's out of Minnesota, and he flew in here, and we did a project together, with the Nissan, with a Chrysler 300. He helped me do the quarter panel and, explained to me how some of these body, tools work and stuff like that. And before he got a chance to get here, I went ahead and I basically bought all of these bodywork type of tools. If you guys are interested in picking them up or something, man, I can't believe I haven't been even putting any of those links in my description so far, what I've been using. I'm just so focused on the project, but in case you guys are looking for some kind of bodywork tools and you're trying to, start out, I'm actually going to put all those links in every single video now at the very top, so you could get in there and you could actually see what kind of tools I'm using. So if you want, you could pick them up, and they're really, really cheap, and they're on Amazon. I remember when my dad was buying some, because he actually, did some body work in the past. He really did a good job. He only had a few basic tools, just a few basic ones. I have the whole kit. You could really do a lot. And now, thinking back to the video that I just posted today, which basically in today's video, it shows how I'm basically pulling out this left piece. I don't even know what it's called, but that's where the bumper mounts to. I'm basically pulling on it, and then I remembered after I was done with it, I'm like thinking, man, I have the proper piece that bolts in there, and it's got the handle grip on there, and you could really, you know, do some pulling on it, but I didn't even use it. Because, you know, a lot of times, you know, you could do something like this when it comes to body work. You could just, you know, think outside the box, and you could use tools at your disposal. And I guess, let me show you kind of like what I'm talking about. Let me remove this bumper, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. So let me just put my microphone right here, so hopefully it doesn't fall. So let me show you something. Let me pop the hood open. And it appears to me that I locked it. Guys, got the keys to it, and let's unlock it. Okay, Kevin, can you pop the hood? Good job, Kevin. So basically, as you can see, everything's in here. We have the radiator back here. It does start up. Let me start it up. Kevin, here, start it up. So guys, I just want to explain a little bit in this video at like what's going on. So you can see everything's working. Let me show you a little close up. Okay, this is what we're working with right here. This is where the radiator mounts, and as you could see, about 1/4 it needs to go down and it can't really go down anymore. So basically this radiator support needs to come out about 1/4 on both ends. And it's slightly, you know, bent, but you could, you know, move it like back and forth. So some of the ways that I could actually do this, let me explain to you exactly how that can be done. First of all, let me show you guys how easy it is to pull out the bumper. Well, we need one little tool. Hold on. So check it out, guys. And it has been removed. Now you can see like the whole thing where it sort of was, and you know, the whole face is kind of like gone. It's like, whoa, where did the car go? But anyways, guys, the thing that I need to pull out and what I need to show you, let me show you exactly what needs to be done. So it looks like in yesterday's video that you possibly watched, if I'm, you know, putting everything up in order, I got this radiator support looking straight, because right now it's nice, but before, this part was slightly raised, that part was slightly lowered, and I wasn't really sure if one needed to go up and the other one needed to come down. And it was kind of tricky because the way my hood was closing, it was also pinching on the hinges back there. Turns out that the hinges from this hood were original from the accident. Might have not been that bad, but the hinges were slightly damaged. So as I was closing down, it was a little springy. I did actually fix that by putting a 2x4 kind of like in here and just slightly close it, just a little by little, and got it, you know, pushed out where it needs to be. So the lines are actually matching up. So the locking mechanism, everything's locking in, you know, perfectly. But when it comes to repairing some of these jobs, sometimes you're not the first person that's been there. So with this radiator support, if you guys watching this for the first time, I know I explained this already several times, but this came off of the gray Nissan Rogue as well as the parts, and it's damaged in different places. I mean, it's not like you know, really bad damage, but it's enough to throw you off. So you really have to think outside of your box and make sure you're doing things in order. This is why I'm doing things the way that I'm doing. First, making sure everything's lining up, and now that everything's lining up, I could definitely tell with the radiator, you know, and stuff. That's actually surprised me, because right now everything's perfect. The lines are just perfect. Everything falls into place. It almost seems to me like that section needs to go down somewhere the radiator attaches to, and maybe it does. You know, if I kind of look at it, you know, who knows? It possibly needs to go down some. You know, I don't know. You know, so it does seem like this area is a little bit higher than this one. You know, so I have a couple choices. Either pull this area down, which that's going to be really hard to do, or pull this up. And basically, I'm going to choose in pulling this up, and part of the ways that I could do it is I could either take some straps, tie like a piece of strap here, a piece of strap here, kind of like make it like into a triangle, and then hook it up to, like, let's say like a big fat tree limb, and I could just use a regular type of ratchet that you use to tie the load down with, because this is kind of like soft metal, and that's about 2,000 pounds of pressure that it applies, and you could just ratchet away just with 2,000 pounds of pressure, and it's gonna lift it up, and that's probably going to be enough for me to install the radiator and stuff. So that is one way of doing it. The very next way of doing it is you could do the same thing, except you could do the method of, you know, using the actual proper tools. You know, you put some chains on it and, you know, use that system that pulls, you know, and hook it up to whatever, but it'll be kind of like unnecessary. And then another way is to use part of the tools that I have. It's kind of like, it's a very long piece that pushes out this kind of stuff. You need a compressor for that, and it pushes it out. But I kind of figured, you know what, let me explain this to some of you guys. Maybe you don't have that kind of stuff. You know, what would I use in that situation? Because I've noticed some stuff is just, you know, you just have to think. So you can use a regular type of car jack. So you could bring a car jack here, and on top of the car jack you could put a very long 2x4. You could fit the 2x4 in between this radiator support here, you know, right there. It doesn't have to exactly go in there because it might not actually fit, but you could fit it in there, and then you could set it up on the, you know, on the jack, and you could start, you know, pushing up the jack, and it's gonna push this up where it needs to be, and then come out on this side, and you could do the same thing here. Or you could use two jacks, where one's here with a 2x4, one here, and you just, you know, cranking away at each side and just measuring things up, because the most important thing is that this just goes up high enough so that I could lock in this radiator, because right now this is what it's doing. Now I can decide to just say, you know, forget about it, remove this original system, which is a couple bolts, just remove them, and, you know, well in this situation the radiator sits really straight, so it's not at an angle or anything, but technically it needs to go in like that, so there's just like not enough room. But technically I can get rid of them, get the radiator, you know, close, maybe put some kind of like a rubber pieces here to where it doesn't, you know, vibrate, and, you know, either use like zip ties or some other method to where you could just, you know, get this piece attached and the radiator is going to be in place. But that's not original way, and I would like to make it original as possible when that goes. So I'm thinking about just bringing my car jack and just simply jacking it up and see where that goes with a couple 2x4s, and that's what I'm going to do in this video. So basically I closed the hood, and this is to show you guys something else that's going on. Everything is lining up pretty nicely. We got a, you know, nice body lines. This is what it looks like here and here. Right there, there's a, you know, couple bolts that need to go in, so it's not attached, so that's actually fine. It's gonna line up. The bumper, of course, is lining up very, very nicely. So the lines over here are just like looking good. Same thing here, and it's good here. It's a little bit too close in this area. Kevin, can you open up the door? But it's not really hitting it, surprisingly. But this is a very soft bumper anyway, so you could easily just like unbolt it, you know, and just shape it right there. My concern is, with the way that everything is right now, the way it's bolting up, that when I raise it up somewhat, that the hood is now going to be sitting further than the fender, and then I'm going to have to mess with the fender lines. I might have to shift the lock mechanism down a little bit or something. I might have to do something like that. I don't know about that, but that's like the only concerns that I have. It's just going to be a little bit out of shape. I would much rather, to be honest with you, hook it up over here somewhere and pull this down, because I could see that this is at an angle. So this possibly needs to go down some, and so does that. And I just really don't have any good ideas how to go about it, because I don't have a frame machine. I cannot really do anything. You know, how can I cause it to go down? Plus, this is a little bit more heavy duty here, and it's going to be very difficult to try to do. But anyways, guys, as you could see, I do have to do something about the radiator not fitting where it needs to be. There's a couple ways of doing it. Just my concern is I'm gonna throw off my lines a little bit, and I really would hate that. But it's only a little bit, like a 1/4 that needs to go up. But that's already enough to really throw everything else off. And then I have to go back to square one and start readjusting stuff. So, you know, it's like one of those things. But as you could tell, that bottom piece, like I showed you, it is a little bit kind of like damaged. It's just at an angle. And I would like to pull it down. I just don't really have anything that I could use to grab onto the bottom, you know, kind of like you would have on a frame machine, and just see if you could pull it down some. That's the only thing I haven't done, and it probably needs to be done, because when an accident happened, it was more hit over here on this side, and that's somewhat noticeable. That's just how it is. Like, it's a little bit raised over here, so the way I have everything bolted. So most likely that got affected. But anyways, guys, let me tell you something. If I could do this, and I only been basically doing this, you know, this is my first time messing with a whole front end like that, then chances are a lot of you guys can, especially if you're do-it-yourselfers. You just have to try. In a lot of cases, you're not going to have anything to lose, guys. When I bought this car, this was a parts car, and I wasn't planning to really fix it. It was smashed so bad in the front that I thought, this thing's a goner. As a matter of fact, it would not even start. So I bought a non-start car. That's why it went for so low. It only went for $750. You know, it was a non-starter. It was so smashed up. And I thought, you know, it's just going to be a parts car. That's all it was for me. And then, you know, taking it and fixing it and bringing it to this point, you know, it's kind of like, wow, you know, I just gave this car value. Before it wasn't worth anything, you know, but at the time when I got it, the Blue Book value for 2010 with 106,000 miles on it, it was like right around 10,000. And I know you can't really get that for salvage, and I probably can't get that much, but chances are I probably could get 5 for it easy, you know, being that it's a 2010 with low mileage and it starts out good and stuff, if I decide to sell it. But chances are I'll be selling, you know, like with a Kelly Blue Book anyways. But that just goes to show I could easily flip this car, go back, get another one, and just keep doing it all over and over. And one thing I've realized, I really love doing body work. I really enjoy it. I am artistic, and this gives me the ability to kind of like practice that art on an adult scale, instead of just like, you know, drawing stuff like in albums and stuff, like I used to do back in school. The only problem is with a lot of you guys, and the same thing for me, is that in the past I didn't have a place to really do it. So that's going to come down to not having any place where you could actually do body work. And I actually didn't know that I could even do this, to be honest with you. I thought I could, but that was it, you know. And this is why this car was sitting for such a long time, and I was like, I didn't even think about even doing anything with it, because I thought it was like so much work. This is why I stated the fact that this is really my 4th day. I basically did everything you've seen on the channel prior to this video was actually done in 3 days. This is a 4th video, really. It's just the way things are posted, because I'm doing different type of things, as you could see. And that's like a little different category, and then you're trying to decide, like, you know, what should really go. And, you know, I get confused and stuff. So I'm thinking I should combine some videos, and sometimes I'm thinking like, no, like that would like be way too long. Maybe I should really cut things down. But anyways, I think this video is going to be kind of like one of those videos where, you know, I'm talking a lot, and I'm kind of like explaining kind of like what's going on here. And plus, this is something new that I'm starting on this channel. Initially, I wasn't going to be really doing that on this channel with the Nissan Rogues. I was going to do some projects with sprinters, and I still will. But guys, little cars are a lot easier to move around, and you know, a lot easier to really do stuff with than sprinter vans, because they take up a lot of room. If it's non-runner, then you have all that room that you're wasting. And of course, I'm already parting some out, and I'm selling parts and stuff like that. But little cars are definitely a lot more manageable, you know. So I definitely would like to do more rebuild projects like this. So if I do actually fix this kind of stuff, I will include this in this video. Other than that, I think this might just be like one of those explaining conversational type of videos. Most likely that's what you should really expect, even though we're towards the end of this video. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys that came out and supported me by watching you know, these videos and hitting likes and you know, commenting. Of course, I noticed not a really popular topic for some reason on my channel, and probably because mainly I do a lot of expedite and diesel repair and stuff like that on my channel. But I'd say, you know what, guys, I like it, so expect more content like this. Now, I will be posting this on my other channel, which is a Nissan Infinity type of DIY channel. That's going to come out a little bit later on, because that channel is still not monetized. It's growing really, really slowly. And I can't really sit in one spot and do nothing. I always want to do something. And also, I'm just one guy. I could only choose what to do next. And I decided to work with what I have. I have a lot of stuff here in my property, a lot of different cars. I own 16 cars now, guys. You know, so some of the cars that I have to really think about, like, okay, what is this car going to be? Is this going to be parts? Is this going to be like a future project? You know, what am I going to do with this? So I'm kind of thinking, you know what, guys? This is, you know, educational. This is, I think, fun. This is entertainment, you know, for some of us that, you know, do like this kind of like DIY stuff. It gives a new avenue for me to get into, and I really like it. I'm just really enjoying it. So this is definitely going to be something new for me this year. I'm gonna do more projects like this. One project I will say that's up and coming that I have, well, I have several that are in the works, but right after this, I would like to work on getting an Infinity FX started, and that's a little bit more of a mechanical challenge. It's not a body challenge. I've never messed with that type of engine before. It's a little bit intimidating. You know, I do want to find out what's wrong with it because it's a non-runner, so there's a good chance I'm going to get it towed in here, and then I'm gonna have to figure out you know, what to really do to get the car, you know, in here. And part of the reason I got this thing ready is because this is a four-wheel drive car, and I'm gonna hook it up to the Infinity that I have. That's why I fixed it. Like, I was just gonna put a radiator on it, and that would be the end of it, but I'm thinking, can I really fix this thing? So might as well fix it. So I'm going to hook this thing up to, well, the Infinity in the back. This does have a tow hitch, by the way. So I'm gonna hook it up, and I'm gonna tow it back here, and or somewhere here on the lot, and I'm going to see if I could fix it. And also, guys, another thing that I've been checking in is I would like to build my own shop. I've looked at some prices and stuff like that, and I'm looking at a shop that's going to cost me $10,000. It's not going to be much of a shop, but it's going to be 30 by 60 building with 12-foot walls on the sides, and then I guess in the middle might be like 14 or something like that. I think it's going to be big enough to get a Sprinter in there and, you know, do some work. But I will be placing it. I'll show you where. This is right across from the Nissan Rogue where I'm sitting. So I started building a little road with a concrete type of a pad where I am right now. So that right there is where I'm going to build a big concrete pad, and I'm going to put that metal building on. This is along my fence line. It just kind of goes that way. So this is a little road, and then the fence goes in like that. So it's going to fit a 30 by 60 building, and that's the plans to really, you know, put back there. I already talked to the guys that's going to be building it. It's not cost $10,000. Just gonna have a metal roof and a slide enclosure, and then just gonna be like a bunch of posts, and 10,000 bucks. So I do need to build some projects, sell them, and then, you know, make some money so that I could actually buy that and bring it in here. You know, obviously with the stuff that's going on, there's really nothing else that you can be doing besides just working from your own yard, because most people are out of work right now, and I'm not one of them, because I'm giving myself work all the time. And of course I do have another project that I could sell. There is a Chrysler 300 that's back there that I need to finish up, actually. I need to get it painted and stuff like that. I need to sell that. If I sell that and this car, that's got to be at least $10,000. So I'll be able to, you know, get a shop in here. And of course, I do have Nissan Altima SV 2013 model. It's a really nice car, by the way. I really enjoy it. I'm kind of keeping it for now, but if I do sell it, Kelly Blue Book value on that is like 12K. I'm probably not going to get that much for it, even though it's 46,000 miles on it. But I've been basically driving around town. Now it's like 47,000. So that could be also something that if I do sell, I could definitely put a building up. And guys, when I do, that just means I could do more projects of any kind, really. And one of the projects that I still do want to do, okay, and this has to do with a Sprinter van, and that's why I'm trying like different things, because I really gotta, you know, get my hands on and really practice this type of new techniques, because with every vehicle it's another way of doing stuff, and the more you do it, the more you learn, the more you could do. So basically, I have a 1,000,000-mile Sprinter. All I need is a transmission and a drive shaft and a starter, and that thing is going to be a runner pretty much. But I've been wanting to do a pickup style Sprinter van, and this time I'm just going to keep things simple. I'm going to just turn it into a pickup truck with like a single cab. Like, I'm not going to have a crew cab. I do have a plan for making a crew cab in the future, but I'm just going to keep it simply. It's just going to be like a Sprinter, you know, like body like that with a cutout, and then, you know, Sprinter pickup truck. That's what I want to do. But I really, you know, would like to do it in a place where, you know, I'm gonna have like concrete and stuff, and I'll be able to, you know, do all kinds of stuff. It would just be easier, and it would be nice if I had a building in place. Probably not gonna wait that long to get a building, but I'll still do it. But I don't know where that lies, because the main thing right now for me is if I fix this and I fix the Nissan FX, Infinity FX, and I have my Chrysler 300. I could have 3 of those cars for sale. That's going to be something. And then a little bit of news. I just bought 2 more Sprinter vans, guys. I got to bring them home. So those are going to be for sale as well. So if I could sell those Sprinter vans, then it means I could also, you know, have that shop in here. But whatever way it goes, I'm doing my best to try to get my money together and build a shop here. Also, I'm doing really well selling Sprinter parts, but I have a lot of investments that I'm doing. I got to do all this concrete here and all this other stuff. That's on me. So that goes without saying. I got to get all this concrete in here, and I'm doing that by myself to save money. So as everything that I do just by myself. But anyways, guys, I really didn't know this video was going to be like this, but I kind of figured, you know what, I owe it to my viewers just to kind of like let you guys know like what's going on and what am I really working on these days. And guys, one more piece of news, okay? About 1 week ago, I quit drinking coffee, and you won't believe, guys, the type of energy that I have now, it's crazy. Like, I feel like my own self again. I'm gonna be 39 this May. It's coming up, May the 26th, and I'm gonna be 39. And before I, you know, stopped drinking coffee, I thought, you know, maybe I'm getting old a little bit, because I go out there and I work a little bit and I get super tired, and that's because that coffee wears off, and then boom, I get hammered with like no energy, just you know, complete, you know, coffee crash. And I wasn't drinking coffee, I was drinking an espresso, so I get a huge initial boost, and in a couple hours it's gone, you know, so I'm completely wore out. Now I don't drink anything with caffeine in it. I even cut out, you know, Cokes. No more Cokes. I don't even drink tea anymore, because if it has caffeine, I'm not drinking it. I'm going to only drink stuff that does not have caffeine. That means I still will drink pop, like Sprite, still do that, and like maybe like ginger ale and some others that don't have it. But mainly I'm trying to stick to water. I drink pop like basically like on holidays, even though that's just like it's like a way of saying, you know, I don't wait for a holiday, but I really don't keep a lot of it around. You know, when I do, it's really rare. But I'm trying to just drink water, just trying to drink milk, and just trying to, you know, like eat healthy and stay healthy, because it's real important, especially at my age. I know I'm young, and I don't want to really be feeling old, guys, because believe me, I wasn't really saying it, but man, like I would get so wore out. And I know I do a lot of stuff, okay? but I still, I'm like, I shouldn't be getting tired from this. I really shouldn't, you know. So I kind of figured out that coffee is causing it, and I also have sleepless nights, and I thought that was expedite, but no, guys, that's coffee. That's coffee. And I'm going to probably, if I remember to do this, because this is not a coffee video, gonna try to link up a couple scientific videos that I found on YouTube, where they explain exactly like what's happening. But if I have to put it in my own words, we have these receptors in the body, and they're basically they're taking this sort of certain type of, let's say, like our body makes a certain type of whatever, like a certain type of chemical, and throughout the day, a lot of those chemicals they collect, and that's the type of chemical that goes in that receptor. And the more of it that goes in there, you know, because your body just keeps creating them throughout the day, the more tired you get, and the more sleepy you get. So once it's full, you know, it's already nighttime and you're ready to fall asleep, and then you fall asleep, and those receptors will dissolve that little chemical, and causing you to get a restless night that's benefits you with full sleep and stuff like that. So what happens is coffee is the same shape of that chemical, and it takes place of that chemical, and when it takes place, that other chemical does not go anywhere. They just get built up, and throughout the day, they just keep building up. And they're waiting for that receptor to free up. And coffee's taking up all that space. And so your body recognizes the fact that there's, you know, these chemicals, they can't really go anywhere. Like they're stuck. So it builds more receptors. And as it does that, your coffee is less effective. You need to drink maybe like 2 cups of coffee now in a day, and maybe 3 cups. That's why you keep drinking more and more, and then to fill up those receptors, because now you're getting that boost. As that happens, more receptors get built, and then before you know it, the coffee does not help you anymore. And I think I was at that state where coffee just didn't really help me anymore. You know, it's just doing a complete opposite. And because I've been drinking coffee, like I think I started drinking it like when I was 18 years old, so I've been drinking a good 20 years. A lot of people quit after 10 years, and I could definitely feel like right after drinking coffee, I have to kind of like sit down for a while because I really don't feel like moving much, you know. So it's kind of crazy. But what happens, guys, though, when those receptors are filled up with caffeine, right, because it's the same shape of that chemical that needs to dissolve in time, and it's just a natural process. Well, these chemicals that you really do need, your body creates them. It's needed for sleep and all this other good stuff. They just build up, a lot of them. They just build up, and it's kind of like one way somebody explained, it's like an elevator, and it could only take like one person. But there's so many passengers that really need to go on, so coffee keeps riding down that elevator while everybody's staying in line, and the line just getting longer and longer and longer, and they don't go anywhere. So it's like a credit that just gets built and built and built, you know. Then you still gonna have to pay it back for, you know, like eventually. So basically, guys, this is what happens. Then you go to sleep, and you can't go to sleep because your coffee is still in that receptor. It might not be active as much, but it's still in there, and that other, you know, chemical can't really get into its place. And because that happens, finally, when it gets a chance to get in there, it takes such a long time for every single one of them to get dissolved. You wake up feeling tired, even if you slept 8 or 10 or 12 hours of sleep. And that was what was happening to me. I would just feel tired. And now that I'm not drinking coffee anymore, my body is now working with those receptors, and it's working with my own natural type of energy, and it's basically everything's functioning the way it should. It usually takes between 6 months and like a year for you to get to your normal self. But man, it's been 1 week since I quit, and man, I've been feeling so good, like crazy energy, and I'm like not even drinking any coffee. So yeah, so I kind of figured I'll throw this out there because, man, that's when you're expediting, you're driving all these different hours and stuff of the day, and it's constantly coffee. Guys, I literally was like stopping at McDonald's like every, like, I don't know, like 1 hour or less. picking up a coffee, picking up 2 coffees, just drinking. So it was like, coffee was like one of those things. I just have to keep drinking it just to last so I could deliver the load, you know. It's kind of crazy. But anyways, this video went real long without really any work on the Nissan Rogue. So I'm going to go ahead and put this video to an end, and I will be working on this Nissan Rogue and go ahead and you know, work on it with a GoPro and just get started and just work. Well, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself. God bless you. See you guys in my next video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Take care. Bye-bye.
My name is Serge Zimaleta. I'm 37 years old, and yes, I experienced success after buying my first home for cash. Back in 2011, I was broke, but I learned to solve problems on my own. Now I'm helping others to solve their problems. I know what pitfalls to avoid to stay profitable in business. Need motivation to be more successful in your life? Do you have Sprinter expedite or business problems? Then subscribe. Let's find creative solutions to your problems. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my helpful videos.